Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Shantia here. So in today's video, we are doing a review for Married at First Sight. This is for season 14, episode 11. And I'm recording this for the second time at 1:20 a.m. in the morning because that just seems to be how it worked out. So I wasn't recording the audio, and it's so important for me to get the audio right when I do these videos. So we're going to start all over. So today I'm just going to do a really quick run through with all of the couples. If you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that like, subscribe to support the channel, and also participate in the discussions down below. I read everything that people comment down below at, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get into this review. So the general idea for this episode was that all the couples celebrated their 1-month anniversary, and they are able to kind of nostalgically connect, reconnect, and retrospectively look back on their partnership, their marriage, and reflect on it. But for some couples, it brought up some sad memories. So we're gonna go ahead and dive into that today, starting out with our first couple, Noi and Steve. So Noi and Steve, as we know, they've had the most organic, the most real, genuine, I think, chemistry, easy, effortless chemistry that they've been able to create. However, the bigger issue is that Steve doesn't have a plan. In fact, he gets very insecure about it when it's brought up, and he starts making excuses for it. So unfortunately, because of his habit of turning it around and making it about her, that does concern me, because you should have at that point some level of self-awareness to not make it about your partner or blame it on your partner or put it on their partner. Take accountability for your stuff, because that is an unhealthy coping capability that is not going to further your partnership or your relationship. Now, Steve has some really great qualities. I think he has the ability to be very vulnerable. He's a great communicator, and he understands how to, I think, be in a partnership and make it harmonious. But it's just in this area where he lacks, I think, maturity. I would think at the age of 38, you have no kids, you've never been married, you've had a lot of time to think about what you really want to do and what you really want to build. Why sign up for a show called Married at First Sight if you're not ready for the plan? You should have had a plan probably years prior to even deciding that marriage was something that you wanted to do. I think a lot of people have a tendency to decide, hey, why not get married? I want to be connected to someone. I genuinely care about people. I'm good in relationships. That's not enough. You know, there are so many different layers that make up marriage. Now, I have a very esoteric belief about money, in the sense that I don't think money is real, but abundance and energy is. So perhaps you might not believe that generating a 9-to-5 income is what you're interested in doing. But you need to find a way to still bring in incoming income or abundance, or a way for your family to have a home, shelter, and food, all the essentials, and then some more for you guys to be taken care of. So if that looks like you living off the grid, or you living and having a van life, sure, why not do it? That's your choice. But you should be on the same page with the lifestyle when it comes to your partner. You should be able to have those conversations up front. Starting out, I was surprised that in one of the opening scenes, when Steve was having a conversation with his brother, they were talking about him and Noi and how, you know, she walked out because of the noodle issue, and she had a tendency to lean on her friends. He also said that apparently he was doing everything. So perhaps, you know, I don't know all of what's going on between the two of them. There seems to be like that underlying fight. He complains about her not doing anything. She complains about him not having a plan. And both are genuine points to be made in the partnership. Both of those things are valid. However, is the core issue something else, right? Some kind of disconnect that's going on between the two of them. I was so surprised that his brother didn't bring up the plan thing. I really want to know more as to why Steve doesn't have a plan. Like, what's the mystery? What's the big deal? I also think in some ways, Steve and Noi are still a match, because both of them are immature in different ways, right? She had the inability to resolve the conflict in a way that was mature. She walked out quick. He knows how to resolve conflict. He knows how to communicate. However, when it comes to her asking him about his plans, and honestly, I think that also makes him question or feel insecure as a man, then his insecurities start to come up as well. He starts to get immature and defensive about it as well. Now, one of the great advices I think his brother gave him was to focus on the microchasms. I think that's the word for it, microchasms in the relationship of what you can fix. I think this is actually really good advice, because of course you can't change overnight for your partner, right? We can't just go about doing things as if we're single. We have to make the changes and adjustments to become harmonious with our partner who we're sharing space with, time and energy with. That was really good advice, is like change the things that you can right now and then see if you can change the bigger things. However, the plan thing is a core issue that they have to resolve before decision day. Just like Noi mentioned, I think that is a conversation they most definitely need to have. Now, what I think also helps Steve and Noi to work out is the fact that they both are leading with their hearts and their emotions. I think because they're equally yoked in the sense, in that way, when it comes to their heart, they have a higher probability of thriving. And because they're both immature in their own ways, they're not perfect. Neither of them are perfect. So both of them have like core issues, like issues that can become bigger and tear apart the relationship that they need to work on. Noi even admitted at the dinner that she's not just in love with him, but she loves him and she likes him. And Steve has no problem with talking about his vulnerability and sharing about how he loves her. That to me gives me some kind of hope. I just feel like they really need to mature up and resolve those core issues that they're needing to figure out. Because both of them have some things that they need to work on. All right, so good luck to Noi and Steve. Moving on to Jasmina and Michael. So in this episode, I felt like Jasmina and Michael made the improvements. I felt like Michael especially was doing a lot of the work to change things up and bring the romance, which I'd been saying like all season. Where's the romance, Michael? Because he always seems so serious. So he's more of like an action guy, like I'll do this responsibility X, Y, and Z around the house and that will help you out. But I think it's also important to romance your wife so she doesn't feel like she's not being chased or like you're chasing her, and it just kind of builds the chemistry and intimacy in your partnership. So when Michael's friend came over, he immediately said this, and I caught this. He said that Feeney was his son, his new son or his son. He referred to him as his son. So obviously he's willing to take on the responsibilities of them partnering up and coming together. He also talked to his friend about how he was doing X, Y, and Z for Jasmina, but she wasn't responding to it in the way that he had hoped she would. In fact, Jasmina admitted in the after party that she was more interested in him doing A, B, and C. Now, I do question that because we've already seen her argue and pick fights with Michael over little unnecessary things. It doesn't matter what the fight is about. She'll pick a fight over anything because, as I said before, and she admitted to him, vulnerability is a problem. She admitted to him that she was purposely being not vulnerable with him because she didn't feel like he was doing enough on his part. She was withholding her emotions, essentially. And he was needing the vulnerability from her to step up. So it just kind of goes to show, like, we get in this weird cycle of madness when we're not willing to just give a little bit more to one another. I think vulnerability should just be something you volunteer to do. It's not about being vulnerable, opening yourself enough to get hurt. I think the irony is that vulnerability makes you strong because when you open up, you realize you can let people in. But because you allow things to flow and you're not held on or so hard bent on things looking a certain way when it comes to your partner and you're not relying on them for your emotional sustainability, then I think that's true strength. Open yourself up, but rely on yourself to fill your cup up. But also trust that, hey, maybe I open myself up and I try it out and I try to see what happens when I pour into this person. Are they going to pour back into me? Regardless of whether people pour back into you or not, ultimately, we can say no. We can decide, hey, maybe this person is not doing enough work in the partnership. I'm going to leave. But I think the first thing you need to do is be vulnerable. So Michael admitted to his friend that Jasmina has all the qualities that he's looking for in a wife. He was also willing to do and pull all the stops for their 1 month anniversary. Now, he was doing a lot in this episode. Let's also admit that we don't see everything that goes on and unfolds in every episode because they can't show it in they can't show all of the 1 month anniversary surprises from each of the couples. I'm sure each of the couples do something for their 1 month anniversary because if you think about it, they're recording everything. They just show only the big bits and pieces that feel especially gooey or special for them to show on TV. During his conversation with Jasmina, she said that they had wasted 4 weeks. And Michael was like, no, we didn't. We didn't waste 4 weeks. We learned something. I think she has a way of being very pessimistic, not just with him, but just with relationships in general. Now, we've come to see she is a girl's girl. She has no problem with getting along with women, being there for her women. But when it comes to her romantic partners, and especially Michael, she has trust issues, vulnerability issues, hard time opening up, and a way of self-sabotaging when there need not be any. So I think until she understands that this core issue, this core mindset is what is inflicting and veiling her idea of marriage and her relationship with Michael, and she allows herself to open up to possibilities of what can be, then can she really say and create a connection with him. However, she has a habit of being stubborn. Now, whether I think Jasmina and Michael can actually survive or not, it's tricky. I think there's a lot of growing that they have to do. Honestly, with Jasmina particularly, I think Michael has more of the ability to be in a partnership because he's not as self-sabotaging about it. He just gets very serious at times, but I think he's also willing to take on the work. But I think Jasmina is a little bit more closed off. Her heart is a little bit more guarded. It's much more closed off. And she needs to take the time to like develop just personal self-awareness to bring back into her partnerships. Otherwise, she's going to constantly blame her partners for problems. Whereas, she needs to be the one who has to take on a little bit more accountability. It's the thing that has created the major issues in their partnership is her lack of accountability. I also feel like she has a way. Now, she looked like she was enjoying herself, and I think they really look cute together. I feel like they're creating and generating a friendship together. But I also feel like she does have a way of kind of like putting on airs. I think, honestly, it's part of her attractiveness. I think sometimes when someone's used to being very attractive, they're very good at putting off or putting on a show. With her and Michael getting along together, I think she wants to connect with him, but until she develops that self-awareness, she can't. She can't really connect with him in the way. She can't develop the feelings. In order for feelings to be developed, you have to be vulnerable. We already saw a preview of the next episode, but she said that she was having a hard time developing feelings for him. But you can't develop feelings without opening your heart. It's just how it works. You have to be the one to initiate it by opening your heart. So I think because there's so much maturing that needs to be done on her part in that sense, it's very unlikely that both of them are going to say yes, or especially that she's going to say yes. All right, moving on to Lindsey and Mark. So in this episode with Lindsey and Mark, starting with the opening scene, they were in bed like cuddling together. Now, without question, I think Lindsey truly is one of those people who wants to be in a partnership. She wants to be connected. She wants to be in a partnership. However, she has this major issue of self-sabotaging her relationships by making it about her, not taking any accountability, not having the self-awareness, and bringing her partners down. So she has like especially an abusive approach, an emotionally abusive approach that is coming from a huge lack of self-awareness on her part and trauma on her part that she needs to heal. So starting out in the opening scene, Mark was fired from his job. Sorry, he wasn't fired. Mark wasn't fired from his job. Mark was let go from his job because the filming schedule didn't match up with his current work. He talks to Lindsey and she tells him, hey, why don't you just focus on us and our relationship and use this as a time to focus on me? And he was like, no, I have to work. I have to work. And that is really interesting. I would think if someone really wanted to work, I would praise their ability to be responsible, their provider capabilities, and their work ethic. So the fact that she's telling him not to work and that she's disappointed that he's choosing work over her, she just has a way of somehow always turning every scenario into her. Like, he's having issues at work. He's having issues with his landlord. But all of these issues turn into her needs not being met. And I'm just like, honestly, I feel so bad for him because I'm like, oh my gosh, that's got to be so draining for a partner to make everything about them every single time when it has nothing to do with them. It's like, let this man go through his stuff. You support him. That's not what a supportive partner does. They don't be like, well, you're not taking care of me enough. It's like we have to give each other space. So if they can't develop that, I don't think they're going to be able to thrive or survive. But the thing is, Mark seems to have a consistent pattern with women in his life. You know, not being acknowledged, not really being chosen. So perhaps in a way, his standards in terms of what he's needing to be met by a partner are not that high. They're not high enough. They're not as high as they should be. Mark admitted that he's not interested in thinking about kids anytime soon, nor is he in love with her. And he also told Chris that apparently she's not in love with him either, even though she later on said that she did love him. Lindsey just follows her emotions. She really does. She's a storm of emotions. So one minute she may love you, one minute not so much. That's the lack of self-control. You know, when people's emotions, like I'm going to talk about this with Olajuwon too, when people's emotions blow up and they go all over the place, that's just a lack of emotional control, period. So she's big love and big on the hate. He talked to Chris about how her knee-jerk reactions are one of the major issues that's going to create conflict in the relationship. I'm glad he noted that, but I feel like he still needs to be very vocal towards her so she understands what is and what is not okay. Later on, he referred to her as his best friend and that he feels like she's a really good person. Now, this is like one of those like tricky things. People aren't all just bad. Some people, they have some really beautiful, awesome qualities, but they have some toxic qualities too. And you have to decide, are you willing to be with both of them? Because you deserve everything. Every person deserves to be with a healthy, harmonious partner. But is it worth the waiting and the patience? Because at that point, if you're with a person for some of their good qualities, but also having to deal with their toxic qualities, now you're with them for their potential because you have no control over whether they are going to change that or not, unless they show you that they're going to do something. While they're having their beautiful 1-month anniversary that Mark created for Lindsey, the camping trip that they did, Mark was talking about how, you know, oh, you've been through so much. I feel for you. I really feel like I need to protect you. And she immediately starts going, yeah, your time with your work was really negative for me. And I'm just like, girl. And it's so crazy because she is, again, she's a storm of emotion. She'll praise you, she'll shower you, she'll tell you she loves you, she'll lean on you, she'll hug you, she'll laugh with you. And then she'll say stuff like that. And it's just, the romance is just gone. I don't know if it was a dinner or breakfast party, but I think their interaction at the dinner that they had with all the other couples was very telling. She was all leaning on him and saying, I love this man. I love this man. I'll do anything for him. And he was like, hey, don't touch me like that. I'm not a 2-year-old. So again, it's just that aggressive energy. It's going to turn people off no matter what. This is why femininity is very important to understand. If you're truly a magnetic feminine being, your person, your masculine counterpart is going to come towards you. And in fact, it's going to feel very natural when they're able to do that. But what did she say? She's like, oh, I like that he doesn't like it. Because in a way, she has that sort of toxic trait where she likes that the men kind of shirk away from her for some reason. She needs them to be afraid of her. She needs to dominate over them. She likes that. However, it's not functional, nor is it healthy. Now, my opinion is that I feel like Lindsey and Mark should go their own separate ways. Whether they choose to stay together or not, that's up to them. However, it's going to require a lot of counseling and work for them to really sustain this partnership. Moving on to Olajuwon and Katina. So just like I thought Jasmina and Michael were really having a cute moment this week and looking really cute together, in spite of the fact that I think Jasmina does still not like Michael nearly as much as he is leaning towards her, I think Olajuwon and Katina have some really cute moments as well. Obviously, Olajuwon's blow up towards Katina was not okay, right? It was pretty big deal because it was over something so unnecessary. And we are going to get into discussing that. But first, we need to talk about Katina's eggs. Katina, was there butter in that pan? I need to know, was there butter? Was there olive oil? I need to know. And he had admitted later, he's like, it's fine. We need to work on the cooking, but I appreciate you. And I thought that was so cute. But then he said something that was so key. And basically, it prophesized what was going to happen later on at the end of the episode. He said, I always point the finger first. So Olajuwon on many occasions has called himself out. He said that he's had trust issues with people. He always points the fingers first. So in all of those thoughts and all of those emotions that he has going on in there is some level of self-awareness where he knows to some degree what he's doing. Whereas I feel like, compared to Lindsey, I feel like she doesn't know, nor does she really care, because she justifies what she does. So my dad is so funny. He kept calling Olajuwon old school. He's like, he wants his wife to stay home and cook. He wants her to like be a certain way, a certain wife. And at this point, it's really seeming like that. I'm getting the vibe that he was taught some interesting values about women and how women are supposed to be treated, or how you can treat women. So let's go ahead and rewind. Let's talk about how Katina took him out on their 1 month anniversary on I think it's called a gondola. I think so. I think that's how you say it. But she took him out on that fun ride, and he was so appreciative of that. He was kissing up on her and leaning up on her. And then the drama started. So apparently, as they were on their way to have dinner or lunch or whatever it was that they had together, he saw something on her phone that he didn't like. And he was being all mysterious about it. He was like, I don't know if this is marriage chemistry. And it escalated real fast. So it doesn't matter if you're feeling a whole turmoil of emotions. And Olajuwon is very transparent. He's very honest. He says exactly what he's thinking all the time. You need to put a filter on that. Because ultimately, when you're in a partnership, you protect each other. And you honor each other. That is your partner. You need to honor and protect them the most, because you know all of their secrets, they know all of yours. He could have easily de-escalated that by calming down, but he wanted the attention. He wanted the drama. He wanted the dramatics. And it became bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, all because she had an old dating app that wasn't even activated on her phone. Now, should someone have a dating app on their phone when they're in a marriage? Obviously not. But there are a lot of apps I have on my phone that I can't even keep track of. The only time I ever get rid of apps is when I need more space on my phone. Other than that, I forget that I ever have apps on there that I don't even use. Now, obviously, Katina had no intentions of using, or hadn't any intentions of using that app. It wasn't even used or activated. He decided to react to it. He said, oh, we shouldn't even be having this discussion. It's common sense. What's common sense, Olajuwon, is that your reaction is a overreaction. Find a way to de-escalate and stop pointing the finger first. He's self-sabotaging. He's developing feelings for her, but not only that, I think at one point he was sitting across from her. I think it was after she had made breakfast, and he said something about how he was a great man. And that was a red flag for me. I don't think I know anyone who refers to themselves as a great man, even if they are. In fact, the great men don't call themselves great men. He has a high idea of himself and high expectations, apparently, right, for his wife, for Katina. Where is he getting these ideas? He needs to shift them, adjust them, and change them, because they are not going to work for this partnership. I really feel for Katina. She has an incredible temperament. She just seems so calm the entire time. And during the after party, she described it perfectly. She said she felt betrayed. She felt like when she was watching the previous scene where he was talking to Dr. Vivian about her, that she didn't deserve those comments towards him, or towards her from him. So she has an idea about what is and what is not working in their partnership. Now, they can continue on this journey through struggle love. That is an option. That is a possibility. They can. Should she? It's up to her. I often think that sometimes when you're drawn to a person who has those issues, it's because you have that unresolved trauma within yourself. So it's like, we can heal together, but it's going to be harder and it's going to be full of struggle. Or you can do your own healing by yourself, or most of it. I'm not saying you do all of your healing, but do the major healing that you're aware of on your own, and then choose to get into a partnership. And that's really all I have to say about their partnership. There's a lot of healing on Olajuwon that he needs to do. I think Katina, when it comes to her friends, obviously she's surrounded by great people who give her really good advice about how she needs to listen to her heart and what's good for her. And she's listening to her intuition. You know, she talks about how she hesitates with the vulnerability and she needs that safe space. Unfortunately, what was sad is she talked about how he was making her feel safe, only for him to do that and overreact to the dating app for him to not make her feel safe. So they basically backtracked and they're having to do that work again. It's like, but people get in partnerships all the time where you're both having to do a lot of healing with one another. So it's just, do you have the patience to want to stay with this person to do that healing? It's not preferred. It's going to drain your energy, but at the same time, if they care about you, perhaps they can work on that. I personally, with Olajuwon, I don't know if narcissism is quite the right word, but with his high idea of himself compared to other people or compared to her, that alone would be enough for me to be like, this isn't going to work for me, because I need someone who already values me as an equal, period. We may not be the same. I'm a woman, but our value is equal. If you do not see my value as equal to you, there need not be a partnership, period. So that is my review for Married at First Sight. I hope you guys enjoyed that review. I'm going to go on and move on next to making my next video. I would love for you guys to like, subscribe, support the channel, comment down below. Let me know what you thought about Olajuwon's blow up. And, you know, again, it's like when we see patterns with the same people reacting, obviously that just goes to show the yellow flag is becoming a red flag and the red flag is becoming a hot tamale. So at this point, Olajuwon is stacking up on the red flags. So I just hope he works on himself. He has a genuine heart. I think he has sincerity when it comes to him. I think he really wants to try, really wants to put in the effort. However, he needs to humble himself. He really needs to humble himself about his idea of marriage, about the people, his viewpoints about other people, and about Katina. Because to be honest, this woman at the point is reaching the level of goddess energy where you're compared to where you're at, Olajuwon, and your inability to see her value. Because the fact that she knows how to be patient with you and work with you and still, you know, at the after party, at the very least, she understands her worth. She said, he doesn't need to show me that I'm enough. I am enough because I choose to be enough. And I love that. However, I will also say this, you need to embody it. No matter what, it's so important for you to embody, because I have strong viewpoints about how I feel about myself all the time too. But embodying it is something different. When you truly embody these ideas of like, I'm a strong woman, I'm powerful, I'm vulnerable, I'm beautiful, I'm fluid, I'm you know, when you start to think of yourself in this way, you have to also embody those traits, because people are going to come around you and they're going to be able to sense your energy. If they feel like they can take advantage of you, they will. And to me, the fact that Olajuwon feels like he can take advantage of her, not that he's trying to intentionally take advantage of her, but indirectly he's doing it from the lack of self-awareness on his part and healing on his part. It's because he knows he can get away with it. Katina needs to energetically really rise up, like bring that, like truly embody, fully infuse and embody that worth, that worthiness, that the priceless worthiness that is your true value. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. Make sure you're here next week for my next review of Married at First Sight, and we will be here back for that. Share down below your comments, like, subscribe, support the channel, and also check out my new series, Heal, Feel, and Reveal, where we are talking about healing. We are talking about how to generate the confidence and the ability to go after the things that we want and want to create in our lives. I'm also doing a 20% off coupon in my store. I'm an artist. I do artwork, painting, photography. In fact, let me go ahead and do like a mini presentation. So I just finished this commission. If you guys were wondering how good I am. Honestly, it's a gift. I truly believe it was a gift that I was given and passed down because my grandfather was an artist whose dream wasn't fully realized. My mom's family is very, very creative. My father's family is very deep, I'd have to say. There's a depth. So I get like both, something valuable from both worlds, and it's made me who I am. But I just finished this commission, and honestly, I posted it on my Instagram, and I posted this message about learning how to say yes to things that you're fully in alignment with. Because this commission took forever to finish because I wasn't in full alignment with it. And I'm currently not taking commissions. It's on my website. But if you really feel inspired to ask me to do a commission, I might be willing to say yes. It just depends on the amount of energy I'm going to have for it. Because honestly, I'm wanting to generate new ideas, and the creative ideas are overflowing. I just need to tap into that. But sometimes when people ask me to paint things for them, sometimes I'm just like, but do I want to paint that? And that's always the tricky part to being an intuitive creative in this world. All right, thank you guys so much for watching and listening to me ramble on. If you stayed for this part of the video, give yourself a pat on the back. Okay, thanks guys, bye.